So at the beginning, one starts with the motivation. You see why we came here for this class and how we why we practice the spiritual path. You know, what's our aim? So it's good always to start in the same way. If you take a habit of having always the same motivation, then the motivation happens automatically. You see, you don't need to think about it. So it's good to find your own way to make your motivation, and then always do the same way, and then it happens, you know, on its own. So one way I like to do it is like we did a little bit yesterday, the various meditation. You see, at this present moment, we exist in time. So at this moment, we are at a certain age in our life, in this human life. And we were born somewhere, and we grew up, and we led a life that brought us to our present stage of being, you know, with a certain self-image, with certain activities, you know, things like that. So like yesterday, we meditate on consciousness or mind, something immaterial, and then we go through the process of leaving this body to the 8th stage of going into clear light, and then we end up in the intermediate state between two lives and find the other parents and born and grew up again next life and have a life there again, and again we live this life, this next life, and we go through the clear light intermediate state and another life. And this happens endlessly in the future. You see, consciousness is something immaterial, so we're going to live forever. And we have lived before and before and before. So you see, this present life is just one in a stream of many lives. So to put your life, you see, normally we think about the border of our life. Is, you know, oh, I woke up this morning and I'm going to live this day and I'm going to fall asleep tonight. So our perception can be very short. See, just this day, I'm going to enjoy this day. And if you're working in a working environment, when it's Monday, you know, you're thinking about Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or weekend, you know. So the beginning of the week, you have the perspective of the whole week, and as the week unfolds, you're happier and happier because soon is the weekend, no? So you have this perspective of the week because you work and then you have the break of Sundays or Saturdays, Sundays. And for people, you know, when the big holidays comes in the summer, again, you know, for a few months in advance, you're already making plans, and you how to say, you feel happy, or soon holiday will come, I will make that trip, that journey. So you have this kind of longer perspective. And then we have this perspective of this life that is going to end. So you see, we put some money aside, or we try to take care of how we're going to grow old. You know, we have certain image of our aging, you know. So we make some kind of preparation. So in Dharma, you try to break through this wall of death. See, you try to see beyond that. And you make preparation for next life and the life after. You try to see, You try to imagine what's going to happen. And there that makes you aware of karma, of cause and effect. That happiness and pain doesn't happen by chance or at random. So it's the produce of our own thought, speech and action. And then the quality of our lives also depend on the level of our emotion. You see, if you have peaceful, loving emotion, kind emotion, or if one's mind is very rough, angry, self-absorbed and so forth. So the quality of one's mind determines what kind of life we'll have. And then we explore a little bit further and think, you see, no matter what life, you see, all of us in this life, we have quite a good life. We live in a good country. We all have quite a comfortable life. And yet, we still have problems. You still have insatisfaction. It could always be a bit better. You see? And then with having also there's the fear of losing that comes. So no matter how nice our life is, you see, as long as we're under the control of karma, cause and effect, mental affliction, it's never going to be perfect. So then you think about how to become free of that. You see, the whole process we are in is bound by this, we are bound by cause and effect. And the base of that is a mistaken perception of reality. You see, we solidify, we rigidify our perception. So we don't really see who we are, how the body exists, how the mind exists, how other people exist, how the whole universe exists. And because of that we are trapped in cyclic existence. So there's a way out. You see, is to see reality as it is, and then we can become free. And then one thinks, you see, like myself, I'm stuck in this process of taking rebirth again and again and again. It's the same thing for everybody else. Whether they are poor, whether they're rich, whether they're intelligent or not, whether they're famous or not, whether we like them or not, everyone is in the same predicament. So, for example, we hear a lot about our president, and we might like what he does or we might not like what he does. But yet, you see, he also is bound by karma, by mental affliction. He also is going to die and be reborn depending on his karma, and like that endlessly. So then we reflect, you see, we all same wishing to be happy and not have problems. And that the whole problem, the whole cause of our problem is that we're self-centered. We think about me, my friends, my family, my community, and the rest we don't think much, other people, or just little bit. And yet all these beings are the cause of all what we enjoy every day. This body is due to our parents, our education due to our teacher, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the car we drive, the roads we use, the electricity, everything we enjoy comes from other. And even our spiritual realization, they are there because there are other beings towards whom we can generate love, compassion, patience. So the motivation when you go through that is trying to become enlightened or to clean your mind from all mistakes and develop all qualities for the sake of all living beings, you see? So that we end up in a position where we can truly help all living beings. So our aspiration is to bring all beings to enlightenment, to bring all beings to perfection. So therefore we take this class, therefore we meditate. Our motivation is, the long-term goal is for us, each one of us, to be able to help all living beings. And for as long as space endures, for as long as sentient beings remain, may I too remain to dispel the misery of the world. You see this dedication from Shantideva. You see, that's the purpose of our life. So it might be a big utopia now, you know, but it's a beautiful utopia. And if you think about it, you know, if you try sincerely to imagine it, our imagination will create it, will make it possible to achieve that. Because depending on our motivation, it leads our mind to that direction, to the fulfillment of our intention. So if you cultivate that state of mind, wishing to reach enlightenment for the sake of all beings, automatically your own welfare is taken care of. Because for you to do that, you need to get out of cyclic existence, and you need to get good rebirth, and you need to be happy in this life. So wishing the highest thing, all the lower ones naturally are taken care of. So try to induce this broad mind, this vast mind, the purpose of my life and all my life to come is to strive for enlightenment and to bring all living beings, all living beings that are like my partner, my child, my parents, my friends, my helper, my doctor, my nurse. You see, all these beings have at some point been closely related to us. We have joked with them, we have laughed, we have shared intimacy. So they are not nobodies. You see, there are some people which each one of us in different circumstances have been close to our heart. So for their sake, for the sake of all these living beings, we are going to meditate now. So we are going to do like yesterday, recite the mantra of the Prajnaparamita of the Heart Sutra 7 times. And then at the end, at the 7th time, I'll say take a deep breath. And you take a deep breath. And then we exhale, deeply. And then you try to recognize the clear and knowing nature of your mind, that space of awareness. And you stay in there as long as possible. So you relax in there. You become one with that space of awareness. Tayata gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisattva Gade, gade, paragade, parasamgade, bodhisattva, gade, Deep breath. So try to become one with the space. Imagine that your body dissolves, that you become unaware of the body, and you completely become one with that space of awareness. So at the beginning you stare in that space, and then you rest in that space, you let go. And within that space of awareness, your sense of I wants to arise again. You see, this sense of I comes with all your life story, all your hopes and fear, your whole personality, your whole who you are. Yet if you inquire where is that I, you see, you are one with that space, and you try not to shake the space. You are that space, and within that space your sense of I wants to come up with its whole personality, its whole story. Try to look, where is it? So it seems to be bubbling up somewhere within that space. But if you take a mental microscope and look into it, what is exactly this I? So it dissolves back into space. You cannot find it. So whatever thought or sense of I arise, you used in this mental microscope to look into it. And if it would be something real, it would become more concrete. You could be able to see it clearer. But when you look into a thought or the sense of I, instead of becoming more clear, more vivid, it vanishes. So as it says in the teaching, the non-finding is the right finding. So allow your mind to go into that experience of not finding the I, not finding the thought, and remain there in this non-finding. So jump into it like you jump out of an airplane with a parachute. Don't go halfway. Allow yourself jump into that space of non-finding of the I. So there, your whole life story, your whole self-grasping disappears. You become nobody. You become free from all your mental construct of who you are, of who you think you are, of what you think you like, what you think you don't like. Everything disappears. Yet you still exist. And in that experience there is peace, there is bliss, there is joy. There is no attachment, there is no craving, there is no fear. Things are just what they are. And one can live in the world like that, completely free from hope and fear, from attachment. And being perfectly happy without life story, without self-grasping, without self-cherishing. Psychologically completely free. Even though you live with your partner, with your children, your parents, your community, your mind is completely unattached. Even though you work and have activities, you have no self-image. You are, but there's nobody in there. You're completely free. And your body and your environment, the other people, they exist like in a dream. They are there, but if you look for an essence, if you take a mental microscope and look into it, you don't find anything there. People, object just exist superficially if you don't inquire. But if you look into it with introspection, you don't find anything or anyone. Ultimately, all beings and objects are similar to space. And in space, there is no attraction, no aversion. There's pure peace, pure bliss. Your heart is at total peace. Yet superficially, the drama of life unfolds. In time, things constantly change, pushed by cause, conditions, life unfolds. Born, aging, sickness, death, falling in love, falling out of love, gaining, losing, being praised, being criticized. The whole drama of life unfolds. Yet at the same time nothing happens. Because deep down everything is empty of inherent existence. Just an edge of space. And that space of bliss and peace is our true home. That's who we really are. So from the perspective of ultimate reality, nothing ever happens. Yet relatively, in time things happen, but if you see how things ultimately exist as space, it changes the way you see the relative world. It becomes dreamlike, mirage-like, illusion-like. It's there, but you know it's not there at the same time. You see it's senseless, there's nothing in there. And that you have to be satisfied with this mere appearance, this mere superficial dance. And we have this strong emotion of attraction, aversion, hope, fear, only because we see things as real. If you would see that they are senseless, we'd have peace all the time. There's not really somebody dying. There's not really somebody being sick. There's not real global warming. From the ultimate perspective, these things don't happen. Yet superficially, all these things happen. But if you see them as senseless, your heart is at peace. All these emotions that disturb us won't happen. So the solution is not to escape from the world, to go in a cave, or to go on another planet to find peace. The solution is to realize that everything is empty of inherent existence, that things have no essence. If you inquire, if you take a mental microscope, you don't find anything. And that non-finding brings you total peace. And because you are not have self-grasping, because you don't have fear, because you have no attachment, you can act with wisdom and clarity. You can do the right thing at the right moment. You don't have the interference of your own ego, of your own perspective. You just see things as they are and you act accordingly without any disturbing emotions. Out of love, out of compassion, out of joy. So we can live in the world without being of the world. Because you see how things ultimately exist, how they are empty, how they are space-like. You're not trapped into the appearance. They are there, but at the same time you see beyond. And that gives you, the more you see things as empty, the more you're psychologically free. The more you can enjoy your life in the world without any hope and fear and attachment and fear of losing or hope to gain. Your heart is at total peace. And you can enjoy your food, your drink, your partner, your children, your job. But you also enjoy when you're losing. When you lose your partner, you lose your child, you lose your job. Everything is okay. Because ultimately, all these things is just peace, bliss, and empty. When one dies, nobody dies. When you lose, nobody loses. When you gain, nobody gains. So, if one can within that experience, then to increase one's love and compassion, one can do Tonglen, with your out breath. You share your peace, your joy with all living beings, and when you inhale, imagine taking away their trouble, their pain, their mental affliction, the obscuration that prevents them to see things as blissful, space-like energy. So people suffer not because they're innately bad people. They suffer and do crazy things because they don't experience ultimate reality. They don't know who they really are. They're prisoner of the drama of life. So in this text that we study, you see basically the heart of the meditation is these two things together. You see, this how to see ultimate reality, and then superficially how to live in the world with love, compassion, and aspiring to reach enlightenment for their sake. So that's so we're going to read the text together again. So we have an overview. Homage to great compassion. This instruction handed down by Selingpa help us transform the problems of this degenerate time into factors supporting our progress to enlightenment. In this way, they are similar to a diamond, the sun, and a medicinal tree. First, to the groundwork. Remember how precious this human life is for spiritual development, how everything is transient and that death can come at any time, how cause and effect is infallible, how existence, conditioned by karma and mental afflictions, is suffering. Awareness of how things ultimately exist. See all phenomena as dreamlike. They are not dependent of mind or mental designation. Examining the ultimate nature of mind. Understand that this ultimate nature is also empty of inherent existence. Allow the mind to abide in the space like emptiness. In post-meditation, see everything, including yourself, as illusion-like. Knowing how things conventionally exist, train in great compassion. Begin by placing all blames on one thing, self-centeredness. Then meditate on the kindness of all beings. Alternate giving and giving. For taking, begin with yourself. These two, taking and giving, ride on your breath. On the basis of three objects, the three mental pleasures, transform them into three sources of virtue. Three poisons, pleasure, pain, and neutral sensation. Three poisons, attachment, aversion, and indifference. Three sources of virtue, use your own three poisons to free others from them. In daily life, use reminders. For example, may all beings suffering ripen upon me, and may all things ripen upon them. When misfortune fills the world and its inhabitants, transform them into the path for awakening. See all misfortune as purifying past negative action. Use them to train in renunciation, compassion, and emptiness. Immediately apply this mind training to whatever happens in your life. Enhance your progress with 4 activities: accumulating merit, purifying obscuration, spirits, protecting. In brief, the essence of mind training is to apply yourself to the 5 strengths: strong determination, motivation, familiarizing with the 2 bodhicitta, positive seed, cultivation, wholesome action, abandonment of self-grasping and self-centeredness, aspiration, real dedication. The Mahayana instructions for how to die are those 5 strengths and the bodily posture. Strong determination, may I be able to die mindful of the 2 bodhicitta. Familiarization, meditate on the 2 bodhicitta till your last breath. Positive seed, offer your belonging to those who have been kind to you, as well as to the teacher, the 3 jewels, and the poor. Abandonment, purify of non-virtuous deeds. Aspiration, prayer. May I never be separated from the 2 bodhicitta in all my future lives. May I be born in a pure land and you are successful if all of your spiritual practice have one aim, to gradually reduce and eliminate self-grasping and self-centeredness. Of the 2 witnesses, you rely on the principle. You rely on yourself instead of others. You are able to maintain a contentment unaffected by the 8 worldly concerns. You have overcome self-centeredness. You possess the 5 signs of greatness. Use each moment to enhance bodhicitta, pure morality through continuous awareness of karma, ability to bear hardship in combating delusion, body, speech and mind never separated from bodhicitta, well trained in the 6 perfection. You are able to practice even when distracted. Always abide in the present principle. Your mind training should not contradict your vows, nor become a cause of ignorance, and should be impartial. Change your attitude, but act naturally. Don't speak about others of others. Don't think about them. The universe will stronger disturbing emotion. Give up all hopes of reward. Avoid pure motivation. Don't be loyal to your delusion. Do not disparage others. Do not hold grudge or wait for revenge. Do not take advantage of the weaknesses of others. Do not pass on your responsibility or blames of your fault onto someone weaker than you. Do not engage in mind training or ritual for selfish purpose. Do not seek to be the best, hoping for praise. Do not allow your spiritual development to make you feel superior. Do not take advantage of the suffering of others. Maintain awareness of either relative or ultimate bodhicitta in all your actions. In all adversity, there will be one remedy, giving and taking. Remember the 2 activities, one at the beginning and one at the end, motivation and dedication. Be patient with whatever happens, good or bad. In all situations, uphold these precepts, including the mind training one. Train in the 3 difficult activities. Recognizing the presence of mental affliction, applying the antidote, and prevent the recurrence. Acquire the 3 submissions. A qualified teacher, a mind intent on practice, and a supportive material condition. That dedicated devotion to the teacher, enthusiasm is for mind training, wish to help beings. Always do actions with body, speech and mind. Always mind training impartially, and from the depth of your heart and towards each and everyone. Pay special attention towards those closely related to you. Don't be swayed by external conditions. Practice what is most important at this time, bodhicitta, and applying the antidote to delusion. Don't follow the worldly mind. Be consistent in your practice. Train wholeheartedly. Free yourself from delusion, from adversity, exertion and analysis. Don't boast about your positive actions. Don't be bad-tempered. Don't be fickle or expect gratitude or thank you. Because of my many aspirations, I have defeated the tragedies of suffering and the human suffering. Now if the death comes, I have no regret. Fantastic. Tea break. We can have a little tea break.